Hi, everybody. I'm Francesca Maxime, and this is Wise Girl. And I am so thrilled to have with me today a very special guest from Zimbabwe, from Africa, Mandaza Augustine Kandemwa, who was born as Svikiro in Shona, his native tongue, a carrier of many earth and water spirits, and a Mhondoro, one who is in constant prayer on behalf of others. Mandaza, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your wisdom and your teachings today.
You are most welcome, my dear.
It is a pleasure. There is so much richness to your story, to the work that you do, and to the sense of connection, I think, that you are inviting people to have, not only to others and to the earth and to the universe, but to themselves. Here in the United States, I feel like a lot of times people have a hard time connecting to themselves. Can you talk about how we can get support from the ancestors, from other places, to feel more connected to ourselves so we can do the work in the world that needs to be done?
The question you have asked, to really go deeper into oneself requires prayer for guidance from Creator and ancestors. It also calls for compassion for other people around and beyond you. Take them into your own heart. Feel them, feel the mountains in your heart, feel everything around and beyond you. For guidance from spirits, they will open the door to that sacred heart of yours. Then you can be connecting the soul, which is the soul individual on this planet Earth.
And when we feel more connected to ourselves, we're able to give more to others. But I feel like sometimes when you talk about inviting in the ancestors or having prayer or being more curious or open-minded to a more natural rhythm, here in the United States, a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to sit with the trees. They don't want to just sit and be together. They think that they should do it all by themselves. I think that that's
This is a very serious illness that has hit not only your own people in your continent. This kind of feeling and attitude is hitting the whole world. Wherever I travel, people isolate themselves from themselves first. They isolate themselves from other people around them, including our environment. We think we are on top of everything. We can control everything. We think we are super beings. We are not super beings. We are not more important than the little ants that you see. So people must be aware of that. The more we think we are special people, that is the more we get separated from the rest of the world. So human beings around the world are living in isolation. We have forgotten where we actually came from. So we need to remember that we are one with everything. Then we become connected to ourselves first, to other people around us, and to the whole environment that we know of.
When people don't have an experience in their life that they feel somebody has loved them, when they feel like they have been rejected or they have been abused, either in their family or as a consequence of their race or of their sex, their gender, or of their economic status, I think a lot of people feel like they're hopeless. They don't know how to begin to tap into the wisdom that is greater than just what they see in front of them. Do you have ways of starting to cultivate that sense of spirituality and that sense of support that you would suggest?
My dear, this is a very big and important question you are asking right now. Man, their being on Earth, we think there is a reason why we are here on planet Earth. What is that reason? If I were to refer to trees, for an example, they know the reason why they are on this planet Earth is to fertilize Mother Earth and to feed us with the fruits and with the trees are performing. But human beings do not know the purpose of life on planet Earth. Why this great creator could not just dump mankind on Earth for nothing? What is your purpose as an individual? If you are a seeker of that knowledge, a seeker of that wisdom, it will be given to you in your sleeping and waking dreams and visions. If I were to ask your people in New York, how many of them are receiving sleeping and waking dreams? If we take them for granted, we are planning and to live in isolation. We are separating life, that is all creations. So important message, so that they receive revelations and they begin to discover what their individual gifts are to the world. Those individual gifts must be pursued, must be made use of for the benefit of the self, the benefit of your family, the benefit of your community, the benefit of your country, and the benefit of the whole world. Everyone has a purpose. You are a very special person, every individual person on this planet Earth. You are important. You are the vehicle of the greater spirit. You are the temple of a greater spirit. The greater spirit wants to use his or her temple. It belongs to her. So she must be respected and listened to. And the people must respond positively. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, if you ask New Yorkers today, how many of them are receiving sleeping and waking dreams and visions, you'll find 90% of the people are receiving those visions. Spirit is calling everyone. The Spirit, what is going to happen? Because it is already happening everywhere, except in New York.
So when this spirit is calling us, I hear you saying that you're asking us to pay attention. Don't ignore it.
Yes. Yes. It is as serious as all that. Then we begin to understand, if we pay attention, the purpose why we were placed on this planet Earth, and begin to perform and be of service to that greater spirit.
You've said that many people have individual gifts. No two people are alike, and we all have different offerings, and we all have different talents. And at the same time, I think we live
Yes.
in a culture that values a certain kind of way of being. And there are people who, for example, are artists or poets or people who have a different way of looking at the world that have a lot of value to contribute, but because it's not financially gainful in a way, they're not valued as much. And so they suppress that gift because they have to go out and earn a lot of money, or they have to do things that maybe aren't in their heart. Does that make sense?
It does, because money on its own is sacred and useful and valuable. But we humans have turned money into another god we worship. Without that money, we feel very sad, very depressed, very isolated from the real living life. Money is a gift from the Creator, which must be used very wisely and for the benefit of everything. I may buy some piece of bread and give the bread to the birds. I'm making good use of that money. But money for people belongs to Mother Earth. She owns everything. You may become a billionaire, $1,000 billions of dollars or pounds, whatever it is. The day you are going to go and to become an ancestor or a spirit, you leave it back in the hands of Mother Earth because it belongs to her. So we must look at the finances, look at monies with the eyes of your heart, and be thankful for God and Creator and our ancestors, great spirits, that they have given us this resource, which is to be shared with the hungry nations, the hungry people, the street people, the starving people we see begging for food in your streets in New York.
Yes, I feel like it's become more about the individual and less about the community and the connection, because we don't live in a village, although we do live in a neighborhood, we do live in a city, so we can be connected. But the way that it's set up, oftentimes we feel disconnected. And I think to get to the spirit, you said the heart, to get to that part of us that wants to be connected and that needs to be connected in order to just survive, because it helps us feel good, because we are human animals, we are part of the earth, that in order to do that, we have to in some ways have faith or trust in something that the rational scientific mind that a lot of people have nowadays doesn't allow them to do, to go from here to here.
It has taken mankind a long, long journey to travel from the head to the heart. It is a challenge, but spirit is calling and is going to this world is changing, my dear.
Tell me what you think about the way things are right now.
We are going to have a new world that is going to allow us to put our hearts in order so that the spirit can use that. We still want individual, every country, every. We always say my culture is a clear sign that we are. It has become every human being on this planet Earth. So we need those guys who have been in this field, the spirit of the world of spirit, to really pray hard and make offerings to the greater powers on behalf. It won't be very long before everyone sees what we're talking about. Everyone is going to ask how they can be of service to the voice that is calling us, the voice of knowledge, the voice of wisdom, the voice of peace, truth, freedom, and justice. Science in Botswana, they are looking into the ways science and this spirituality. Between science, modern age will never bring order to our wounded Mother Earth. So we need all those resources, all those different gifts that individual have, bring them together, and we create a new world where there is nothing else but happiness and compassion, freedom and peace. The world needs peace today. The world needs abundance today. Not abundance for if made this money or possessions their God or goddess. That kind of a world is definitely going to go, whether we like it or not. I'm not creating fear in anyone, but I must share the truth with everyone.
So the truth is that we need to start to look at things differently and to be more interested in connection and seeing ourselves as part of a greater whole. When we invite the spirit of the ancestors in, what can we do? Do we use pictures? Do we use nature? How do we do it?
I say there are many ways of going to New York International Airport. Some people love to cycle to the international airport, others drive, some prefer to walk, others fly. For as long as we are all aiming to go and land on the international airport, all methods are welcome by this great spirit. But we must have our struggle, which belongs to everybody. Great spirit, who has some work to be done by every individual.
I feel like a lot of people feel that they are separate and that they are afraid, and that they're afraid to love themselves and afraid to love other people and their communities. How do we become more calm and peaceful inside so that we can love better?
Thank you. You're 100% right when you describe that situation the way you are describing it. Fear of what? Humans are people who are afraid to die, then be afraid to be born. Because death is the first step towards your death. And the death does not kill. Death is, it can germinate again. We are talking of beings who are now gone. When they died, they were the seed that was planted. And they are coming back to us in the form of spirit. So when you become afraid, usually to associate my spirit teacher for me in particular, like the devil, if the devil is there at all. I love the devil for one thing. He creates fear in my heart so that I look for shelter. Shelter is my spirit. So when fear has delivered me or guided me to go to that shade of mine, comfort of mine, where they thank you, fear, for delivering me from my fear. So fear is a great spirit. I love that fear myself. Once it takes you to the destination, then it leaves you alone in the hands of the great spirit of compassion.
I love that. It's a carrier. It's almost the boat. But a lot of people don't want to reconcile the shadow, the fear, whatever you want to call it, the darker energy. There's many names, but they feel like they shouldn't have it. They don't want it. They want happy all the time, happy, happy. And, you know, what about what it has to teach us?
Look, if you are quite a rich person with lots of money in the bank, it is quite a responsibility, very heavy responsibility to look after your riches. It is giving you hard times to look after the money. So there is no celebration, there is no joy in having lots of property around you. But in spirit, there is celebration that never ends. So I'd rather go and hide and sit under that big tree of joy that is, there's no beginning, that has no end. Temporal. So I love to be in everlasting celebration and peace and the happiness. Those who do not see the way we see, it is the responsibility of people who have already heard the call and who are working through that process to pray for those who still think they are happy on this planet Earth. It is our responsibility. That is why I'm in constant prayer on behalf of myself and the others who are exactly like those we are describing. You are a gifted woman when you ask such profound questions like those. So what do we do now with the people who do not see the way we see now? We go and pray for them. It is only those who are given the revelations who can see what you and I see. So we need to pray hard on their behalf. That is our responsibility. Prayer is our medicine that we use to heal people who have not seen anything like that.
Yes, I can appreciate that. And I love that prayer or meditation or contemplation or various practices, that there are all kinds of spiritual traditions for many, many years and across the different countries, but they all seem to point to the same thing. They all talk in different languages and use slightly different methods, but they're all talking about the same thing in the end, the unity of, I would call it consciousness or spirit.
Yeah.
And so I think this is another way to look at it. When you're looking at the ancestors, you're looking at it from the perspective of spirit and shaman, animal, nature. It's not just looking at it from, a meditation perspective. It's different. It's another way to do the same work.
I usually say to people who ask that question, that is one main taproot. It has many branches. All those branches are feeding the big tree so that the big tree exists forever for the good of everything. So the branches are methods of praying or worshiping, meditating, performing rituals, whatever rituals. The leaves do not perform the functions that are performed by the roots. The branches do not perform the functions that are performed by the flowers. But all these things put together give us a beautiful tree of life.
Yeah. I love that. I want to go back to something you said before, which was about death and fear. And you said, what do you fear? You fear death. And of course, we all know we're going to die, and yet people fear death because they don't know what's going to happen. They are afraid of what's unknown. And I wonder if there's a way that you could help people begin to shift or cultivate a greater sense of comfort with what it means when they confront the idea of dying and letting go into the unknown.
It is not the responsibility of Mandaza alone. It is the responsibility of those who have seen the sunshine, the moonrise, the Milky Way appearing in the skies. Together, not Mandaza. Mandaza is just a drop of water in the big ocean. We need to mobilize ourselves, come together, those who now understand this path we are to follow. Together, we can create a new world.
So we hold the hand and we pray and we come together. And when we look at, you said earlier, nature knows why it's here, but human beings don't know why they're here. And that we need to have a sense of purpose. And I wonder, when we are trying to figure out what our purpose is there something that we can do to open to that?
Just go with an open heart and offer a prayer tonight. I promise you, if you ask in good faith to say, Creator or ancestors, whatever it is, what is my purpose of life on this planet Earth? If you ask in good faith, tonight you will receive a dream that will shock you.
I believe that to be true. You had a lot of interesting background. You were raised in a Christian home, trained as an educator, school administrator, and police officer in apartheid Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. And during that time, you became involved in the struggle for liberation. Can you talk about what is happening with our world in terms of conflicts, war, politics, that you alluded to this earlier in saying that they don't know their purpose, or their purpose is maybe not what they think it is?
Oh, my goodness. Politically, the subject of politics is there to control. In politics, we want to control and own everything. In my religion, which is not human-made religion, the path to true lasting world peace is through love in action and compassion. But politics then wants Zimbabwe to be the most powerful country. Politics wants India to be the only country that can bring peace to the world. Politics wants to put in place political leaders who dance to the, who are against the call by religious leaders. A leader chosen by spirit for this for people must not lead the people. He must be a follower. She must be a follower. One who promotes development for everything. One who cares for the wounded people. One leader who does deliver the people. A leader who does not oppress the women or the young children of our world. That's the kind of political leaders we do not have today. They want everything to be controlled by everything to be controlled by Africa, everything to be controlled by United States. That kind of a leader is found in this world or spirit we are talking about. We are a chosen leader by spirit.
And so for a leader to follow the people and really follow the energy of spirit, they need to be able to tap into that, to have it come from somewhere else. It's not about me, my ego.
No.
It's
no. Correct, my dear.
And aren't we all then leaders in our...
Yes, I am talking to anyone who is in position of leadership. It can be in your family. If you are the breadwinner and you try to control everything in there, you are not a good leader at all. A good leader is that visits the people and hear their challenges and work together to promote development for everyone. That's the leadership quality required of us by this great spirit I worship myself.
You know, Mandaza, there is a saying that says, do you want to be right, correct, on top, or do you want to be happy? You know, do you want to be happy, connected? And I think a lot of people, they get stuck with wanting and needing to be right. And they lose the happiness. Because it becomes more important to winning somehow. Because that's the way it is in the structure of the way that we've been taught. Now, I also know...
A good leader.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. I get you, Mama. I get you for sure. I can feel your heart. A leader.
You talk. Go ahead.
A leader is that one who celebrates when all the people are celebrating. Mm-hmm. When they are facing challenges, a leader also faces challenges because he or she is one with people. Our political leaders today, most of them, religious leaders, most of them, leaders in different cultures, most of them, look at where they live. Beautiful mansions. They drive Porsche cars. And the people they lead are living on the streets. They are begging for food. They don't even have health care. And you say you are the leader of the people, leader of a nation. that has those challenges. People, a leader, we don't have such leaders today in this world. Those are the leaders who are now being trained by Spirit, who are being called by Spirit to be in active leadership that benefits everyone. That is why I encourage people to pay attention when the Spirit calls for your attention. We are being trained to be future leaders so that you become the shepherds of the lost sheep, so to speak.
And don't you think that freedom to do that means that you have to be free of fear yourself? You have to be willing to say, not to be gratuitous, not to be, flip, not to put yourself at risk, although that in certain ways may be required, but that you need to be feeling inside that you're free to do that.
Leadership qualities begin to develop in an individual's heart. The heart is the land where the seeds must be planted. You feel that kind of relationship with the suffering people. You feel that kind of relationship and that love in your own heart. And the fire, because you have become the little insects, you have become the grass, you have become the trees, you have become the mountains that we destroy in order to build a mansion on top of a beautiful natural mountain. That kind of love to become a leader must be cultivated inside your heart. So this is what we pray for guidance from Spirit after having letting go of what you think you know in your head. After having traveled this journey from your head to your heart, which takes a lot of effort to do that. Yeah. We are still living in the heads, not in the hearts at the present moment.
I understand. And I think that unfortunately, we end up with a lot of hate.
We cannot have good leaders. Yes, I totally agree with you. I cannot add anything to what you have said. It's perfect.
No, I know. You're very sweet. And the last thing I want to ask you is about hate. About hate versus love, and how a lot of people, I think, they come together because they want to feel connected to something, purpose, meaning, to each other. But sometimes instead of connecting around something that helps other people in the way that you're saying, they use another person, race, gender, immigrant, anything, you name it. They bond, but they bond around hate. How do we start to pull that apart and, like you say, planting those seeds of love and inviting the Spirit in, when the connection means that if we break that bond of hate, we break that bond of connection that we need, but maybe not around that issue. We need to be connected, but not to be connected through the hate.
This is, again, an illness that needs to be healed by people who are already walking this path.
Yeah.
We are a lucky people to be able to see that hate is haunting many people. What we do now as healers, as medicine people, to heal those who carry hate, it's a wound that does not only hate the hated ones, it's a wound that hate the hater too. So we are aware of that. What do we do? Then we perform a healing and peacemaking rituals on behalf of those people. That is why we're always in constant prayer on behalf of others. If I feel that people are suffering from hate, I go in the mountains and perform a healing ritual on their behalf. It is our responsibility now, as peacemakers, as healers, as shamans. It is not only hate, my dear, that is hitting so many of us in this world. It is separation. The Chinese want to be in their community. Our Africans want to be in their community. The Europeans want to be in their community. The Anglican Church people want to be in their community. The Dutch Reformed Church people want to be in their community. That kind of disconnection will never give us a complete web, spider web. We want to create a beautiful spider web that connects to everything through justice. That is how I see it.
Yes, yes, I understand. And I very much can appreciate that. Because to me, and this will be the last thing that I will say, and you can say after what you like to say about that, is that the separation is the separation from spirit that we feel, but it's not true. We're always connected, but we forget that we're connected. And so to cultivate that connection and to keep that channel flowing then helps us get to a place where we can be connected with other people, not needing to have the hate there and to be more out of love. But that separation is because we're feeling separate, but that it's there. We just need to reconnect.
Quite correct, Mama. The feeling is there of separation on baseless issues. Just because I'm black, I must never associate with the white person. Just because I'm a politician, I must never associate. Those disconnections make us into pieces of big jigsaw puzzle. It cannot become a puzzle, but bring all the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle together. We have a beautiful game to play together. So that isolation needs missing people like you and me and the others around you too. Together, let's heal those and bring peace in the order. Yes.
Mandaza, I'm going to let you go because it's been almost an hour, but I'm so honored to have you, and thank you so much for your efforts and your time and your spirit.
You are most welcome, my dear. It's my pleasure, and let's continue doing this kind of spirit of oneness. Always.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, most welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.